U.S. Representative Jared Polis talks internet speeds in the high country. Phil Lindeman with Krystal 93 News. First, Election Day came and went quietly in Colorado this Tuesday, and yet voters approved huge initiatives that could have major impacts far into the future. In Summit, voters decided against a mill levy increase for Colorado Mountain College. Without the additional funding, CMC could increase tuition and cut programs. On the Front Range, the Denver Post reports that voters approved nearly $1 billion in funding for schools, roads, and more infrastructure to come, while marijuana is still making its rounds on small-town ballots. 3 towns south of Breckenridge, Alamosa, Rocky Ford, and Monte Vista, all voted to allow recreational sales and tax marijuana. According to state law, every municipality has the ability to allow or ban pot sales. 14 other towns considered marijuana sales this election, and all but one said yes. The tiny suburb of Foxfield, near Cherry Creek Reservoir, said no to both rec and medical sales. Also on the ballot this year were 19 questions about broadband. In Dillon and Silverthorne, voters approved a measure that lets town governments work directly with providers to improve internet service. The same measure passed in 17 other towns across the state. In an interview with Krystal 93 today, U.S. Representative Jared Polis said broadband is vital to Colorado infrastructure in his bid for state governor in 2018. Broadband is just as important to a modern workforce as housing and roads, he said, and many rural counties are still years behind urban centers like Denver. Polis's platform begins by leveraging the broadband networks we already have. He wants to work closely with private companies like Comcast and state agencies like CDOT, which could help string cable along roads it already maintains. Also at the heart of his platform is renewable energy. Oil and gas companies across the state can begin drilling within 60 days of applying for rights, he said, while solar and wind projects can take upwards of 3 years. He hopes to pass new legislation that evens the playing field. It's official, La Niña is coming to town this winter. Meteorologists with the National Weather Service say the Pacific weather pattern is shaping up nicely, although they warn it could be a weaker system than past years. The last La Niña season was a moderate system in the winter of 2011 to 2012, and if you remember, that year saw near record low snowfall just one season after record high snows in 2010-2011. That record-breaking season was a strong La Niña year. La Niña's arrival hasn't changed the winter outlook. National forecasters are still calling for above-average temperatures and below-average snowfall for most of Colorado through February. But as our friend Joel Gratz at Open Snow has said plenty before, long-range forecasts are essentially useless for powder hounds. Keep your eyes on the 7-day forecasts instead. The Summit Combined Housing Authority is hosting a free renters workshop today at 2 p.m. for anyone and everyone who is new to the local market. The workshop includes a Q&A with a local lawyer who can answer questions about fair housing practices, including whether or not your service animal is allowed under HOA rules. The workshop runs from 2 to 4 p.m. today in the Buffalo Room at the County Commons Building in Frisco. It's free and open to all. In sports, the Nuggets play the Kansas City Thunder tonight at 8:30 on TNT. And on Thursday Night Football, the Seahawks take on the Cardinals in Arizona. Kickoff is 6:25 on NBC. In local sports, brought to you by Dillon Ridge Liquors, the Summit Rugby girls team is getting ready for its run at a 10th straight state championship this weekend. But winter sports are just around the corner. Basketball, swimming, hockey, and wrestling get started with practice early this month for games beginning after Thanksgiving. Stay tuned all winter for Tigers updates. Phil Lindeman with Krystal 93 News.